All right, and hello everyone, and welcome to Star Trek I-13. For those who don't know, we are a tabletop role-playing group that is using the Star Trek Adventures rule set by Modiphius Entertainment. Specifically, we are set on a Nova class variant in the year 2374 during the Dominion War, but I'll get to that in a bit. First, I do have to go over a couple things. Viewers both old and new might notice that I've changed my webcam. I had my avatar done up, and this is sort of a trial run to see how it works. If it works, great. If not, you'll only see it this stream. Who knows? Hopefully, it's a cool addition and not something that pulls major attention away from, say, everything else. Now, the other item of note is that I greatly appreciate any and all support for the channel. That can be as simple as chatting or getting more involved with things like bits, follows, subs, patrons, and so forth. Big or small, every little bit helps. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and run the awesome intro that GM Josh has made for us. All right, and welcome back. So, normally I would have a player read something like a captain's log to start us off, but we'll be starting a little bit differently than most of my other STA games to date, so I'll be taking this one. So, the year is 2374. It has only been a month since the Dominion has occupied DS9. It feels like it's been much longer, though. Starfleet is scrambling to mount a proper defense, and it shows. Nearly every combat capable vessel, including both old Miranda classes and new prototypes, are being rushed out of the shipyards and onto the front lines. The latter is where the crew of the I-13 comes in. Now, the initial thought behind the AM variant of the Nova class was to provide much the same role that the old Japanese AM type of submarine did in World War II. That is to say, reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and limited carrier functionality. The I-13 has been rushed out of space dock and out towards Cardassian space with very little fanfare. The crew itself has had barely any time to get to know one another, much less know their ship, which normally wouldn't be a problem if they weren't currently on a run from a Dominion patrol in the Badlands. So our first scene is of the swirling plasma vortexes of the Badlands, where the orange-hued space is turbulent and otherwise a hellish landscape. Now, the I-13 we see sort of soaring past the camera, and probably about maybe a minute to minute 30 behind the I-13 are two Jem'Hadar attack ships. And nobody's firing weapons yet. You're just sort of being pursued at the moment. But your options are severely limited. And I'm going to let you guys start the scene right there. So why don't we have everybody go and introduce your character, and then we'll jump into the actual role play of it. So why don't we start at the top with the captain?
Captain Oshrev Shran is he's sitting in his command chair staring at the monitor, and we have a display of the attack ship slowly catching us, and he's just pondering the next move, because he knows they're very overwhelmed here.
All right,
So he
next.
doesn't want to make the wrong move.
That's fair, yeah. Next, we have Commander Saval.
Commander Saval is a middle-aged Vulcan. He's standing at the tactical controls. He's noticeable for the heavy scar that adorns his brow, but it's quite old. And he is currently tapping away at the console, trying to run various Dominion attack patterns, comparing the Jemadar's movements at this moment with past actions to try to extrapolate potential attack patterns.
Very nice. And then, Nick, we have Commander Telek. Uh-oh, did we lose Nick? All right, I think we
Sorry,
lost.
my mic decided to do a weird thing.
Hey.
So Commander Telek is on the bridge. He is keeping an eye on what's going on in engineering and occasionally just on his communicator, talking to them down there to make sure that we have enough power, that the engines are going well. So hopefully we might be able to escape these Jem'Hadar attack ships that are behind us.
Very good. And then last but not least, we have Dr. Idru. I think it's Idru.
Yeah, it's Idru. So we're playing Dr. Aaron Idru. He's the ship's CMO/science officer. He's a middle-aged Deltan. He's sitting very awkwardly at the sensor's position, hitting buttons and occasionally getting alarms because he doesn't exactly know his station yet. He's very new to Starfleet. And Idru leans to the captain. Captain, don't suppose we could try diplomacy at this point. Could we?
Doctor, I believe the time for diplomacy is past. And the captain stands up from his chair and addresses the ensign at the helm. Ensign Toriel, do you think you can navigate the storms of the Badlands while at warp?
It would be highly inadvisable, sir. Going to warp while in the Badlands usually leads to ships tearing itself apart.
Can you estimate the time of intercept?
Taps away at his console for a moment. I'm looking at approximately a minute and a half, sir.
And then the captain addresses everyone on the bridge. We need ideas. This is a bad situation.
And I tell you what, why don't we make the first roll of the campaign? So, GM Josh, since you are the science officer, or stepping in for one anyway, I'd like you to roll me a Reason Science, assisted by the ship's Sensors Science. And this is going to be a difficulty of 4, but you have advanced sensors, so that knocks it down to a difficulty of 3.
Is there any way I... Oh, go ahead.
Can I assist as well?
I will allow you to assist with a Presence Command.
Great. I have advisor.
Which means he may
So-
re-roll a d20, yep.
And I'll
Is
roll
there
for
any
the
way I
ship.
could spend enough time to apply my mental repository talent, which means just take a moment, think about the situation, and it should lower the difficulty by 1 if I have
I'll
time
allow
for that.
it. Yeah.
Sweet.
So that's a total of a difficulty of 2.
Okay. I think I can do that with all these assists.
All right, that's 2 successes so far.
Would you say a focus in sensor operations might be relevant here?
Oh, most definitely.
Oh, cool.
All right, so that is a total of 3 successes overall, which means you get 1 momentum. Something's going on with the momentum deck. I'll fix it as you guys are role playing. But you just keep in mind that you have 1 momentum at the moment. But yeah, what you notice, Dr. Idru, is that you sort of see these yellowish areas that I've highlighted in Roll20. Those are pockets of ionized plasma. Now, they can be used for a variety of purposes. You could ignite them, which would obviously cause damage to the surrounding space. You could hide in them, which would probably be very risky, but it is a sensor dampening effect. Or you could potentially scoop them up in your buzzard collectors or Bassard collectors and then sort of do the Riker maneuver that we see in Insurrection.
Could I spend that free obtain information I get from Mental Repository and ask you the question, could we make I-13 look like one of those?
Like one of the pockets of ionized plasma?
Yep.
I would say yes, it is possible, but you would have to vent some of your warp plasma in a controlled fashion.
Captain, I think we could make ourselves look like any of those other plasma storms out there. We'd have to lose a little bit of plasma, but considering we're not going anywhere at warp soon, that's probably our lowest risk option.
Commander Saval, what do you think of the
Yes,
current
Captain.
tactical situation?
Well, Captain, I'm unable to judge the Doctor's plan, but I would be remiss to allow these Jem'Hadar vessels to continue. They might simply attack another vessel along the border. We should take this opportunity to attempt to destroy them. If we don't engage them, some other Starfleet crew will.
And do you have any suggestions on how we destroy these two attack ships?
The tactical capabilities of this vessel are limited, Captain, but we might be able to ignite the plasma in the Badlands in order to damage them.
Captain,
think
if I
it's
could strongly
possible-
object, I realize I'm the new one here in Starfleet, but there's nothing that says that we have to kill these ships. I realize we're at war and we're all against Jem'Hadar, but if we could get away, there's nothing that says that these ships are going to go immediately off to kill someone else.
Doctor, the Jem'Hadar are bred to do nothing other than kill. It is guaranteed that they will immediately continue the fight against the Federation. Others will suffer if we don't act now.
Sorry,
hate
Commander, I
to-
don't agree. The end game is to kill every Jem'Hadar that we encounter. We'll be at war forever.
We need only kill all the Jem'Hadar in the Alpha Quadrant, Doctor.
And he kind of
Well-
leans back with a distasteful look on his face.
Commander, there's no way that we're going to kill all the Jem'Hadar. But I think leaving these two attack ships alone is something we have to we have to take care of these. Do you think it's possible we could lure them into one of the pockets of ionized gas?
Jem'Hadar are known to become overly aggressive when they sense that a kill is near. We might be able to lure them in if we play dead, I believe is the expression. Commander Tolek, would you be able to simulate some kind of engine failure while bringing us in towards the pockets of ionized plasma?
I didn't know Vulcans could read minds.
I think that could be possible. I'd be willing to try it.
Yes, Engineer Tolek, I want you to shut down all non-essential systems. All we want left is the engines and our weapons for now. We want to look like we're dead in space.
Can do, Captain. And Talik is going to start speaking to some of the officers and engineering to get them going on that.
Okay, so I would say this is going to be a presence engineering. The difficulty on this will be a 2.
And I'm not sure if I would have an applicable focus or not. I need to check my list. Starship Power Systems?
I'll allow it, yeah. 2 successes, that's all you need. So yeah, you begin to shut everything down remotely by coordinating with your team down in engineering. And sure enough, after a few moments, I-13, the running lights go dark. The power glow of the nacelles dims. and you are more or less coasting through the Badlands, almost like a piece of flotsam. And as you do so, the attack ships do get closer. And as they do, I'm going to go ahead and roll for their sensors, see if they pick up what you're doing. Let's see. Survey says... okay, so you would notice, all of you on the bridge would notice that a rather directed scan comes in your direction. They have definitely painted you as a target, and they appear to be attempting to establish a lock.
So you're saying they didn't fall for our deception?
You're not sure. Either they have fallen for your deception and they're going to shoot you anyway, or they're trying to get a hold of you before you disappear into the Badlands, because it's very easy to lose a ship in here. And the other thing of note is that as all this is going on, those pockets of ionized plasma that I mentioned, they begin to drift as well. So they drift a little bit closer to you, and potentially could fall behind you if you were to continue along this path.
Commander Tolik, what if we dropped a probe behind us that mimicked our warp signature? That might make them think they're following something that's not us.
Did we lose Nick again?
I think we might have.
Rip. All right, well, I would say that they're working on that. They are considering whether or not that's an option.
And Centaurial, I'd like you to move us closer to the closest pocket of gas.
As you wish, sir. And since they are a supporting character, if someone would like to do the rolling for them, that's going to be a daring con at a difficulty of 1. But there is going to be an increased complication range of 18 to 20.
I'll take that.
Can the ship assist?
The ship will assist with an engines con.
So I can roll the ship if someone
Sure,
like to get the helm officer.
I've got Tori.
It's 2 successes already. Another success from the I-13, so that is a grand total of 2 momentum. You're up to 3. And yeah, with the skilled piloting of Tari, they are able to bring you just on the other side of one of these pockets of ionized plasma as it would pass behind you. So now between you and the Jem'Hadar vessels is this pocket of ionized plasma. And you would immediately read on both tactical and science that those target locks, or the beginnings of target locks, have been lost, as they have lost line of sight on you for the moment. So you've bought yourself some time.
Okay. And Centaurial, I need it to look like we're drifting. So continue moving forward.
Very good,
And Commander Sabal, I need you to keep a torpedo ready. We need to ignite this plasma when these Jem'Hadar ships, if they're stupid enough to go into the gas.
I will have a torpedo calibrated, sir.
And if this doesn't work, we have to be ready to run.
All right, so the act of preparing a torpedo, let's call that a control and a security. Difficulty of 2 here.
Right.
No assist from the ship.
Can I assist as the captain?
I would say no, unless you can pitch me how you would be assisting in this matter.
I'll leave it. That's fine.
2 things. Would you mind if I buy a die for that?
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm
And
keeping track of the momentum on a paper, by the way. And I fixed my mic.
Hey.
And I'd like to use augmented ability control.
Okay.
So, shipboard tactical systems focus.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So with your augmented ability, that is a success. However, if I remember augmented ability correctly, it does increase your complication range, does it not?
Yes.
Okay, because
By
yeah,
2.
that is an 18, which would be a complication. So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is you do prepare your torpedo, but the bad news is that you're gonna have to launch it manually. Something about the computer system is showing a bug. Like normally you would just press a button and a torpedo would fire out. This time it seems that the rear torpedo launcher is experiencing some minor glitches at a very inopportune time. So what that means is that when you actually fire the torpedo, it will be a increased difficulty.
Okay. Captain, I'm afraid that there's been some kind of malfunction in the torpedo guidance system. I'm afraid that we will have to fire it manually once the Jem'Hadar ships enter the ionized plasma field.
Fantastic. Well, Starfleet did it tell us that there might be some glitches and bugs, considering how fast they put this ship together. Perfect time for one to show up. Okay, we need to continue to lure the Jem'Hadar attack ships closer. Maybe if they think we're taking damage from the storms. Can you somehow simulate that, Mr. Idru?
I'm sure I can, sir. What did you have in mind?
We need it to look like our shields are taking a beating. Maybe somehow using the deflector dish to ignite small portions, controlled explosions near our shields.
I think we could do that. There's this plasma everywhere. I could try to arrange the deflector to ignite small pockets that are near the ship, but not exactly close enough to do any real damage. That should create a really interesting light display for anyone looking. It's kind of dangerous, though, sir. We are very close to these plasma pockets. It could ignite the entire thing.
Well, the other option is we let the Jem'Hadar attack ships fire on us.
And speaking of Jem'Hadar attack ships, they have closed some of the distance. They are proceeding a little bit slowly. But again, since the pocket of plasma is between you and them, they have not established a visual or a target lock. As you all are deliberating, I'm going to roll for the first one. Okay. They are actually going to begin approaching the pocket of plasma. Not quite going into it, but given a few more seconds, they might actually enter it.
Commander Saval, I trust your judgment.
When it appears that the vessel has approached sufficiently close to the plasma field, I will fire the torpedo.
Engineer Tolek, I need you to be ready to power us up. We might not disable or destroy both of these ships at once. And when that happens, we're going to have to be ready for a fight.
You don't just want to try heading out as fast as we can?
I think if we continue to run, they're just going to continue to chase us.
Understood.
And eventually they're going to catch us.
If our ruse is successful, it would also be wise for us to take advantage of their weakened condition.
Well, sure enough, the first Jem'Hadar attack ship begins to clip and enter the pocket of ionized plasma.
Is the other vessel still moving towards us at the same speed?
It is, but it's hanging back a little bit, as if it doesn't want to quite get near the plasma, but it also doesn't want to, like, rocket ahead.
Okay. Then I will use my professional judgment and fire off that torpedo manually.
Okay, so as I said, this is going to be an increased difficulty, which means that firing a torpedo normally is a difficulty 3, with the complication raising that to a difficulty of 4. I believe you have 3 momentum at the moment.
Would anyone mind if I spent all 3 momentum to buy 2 extra dice?
Absolutely not. Do it. Do
Okay.
it. Do it. Do it.
I'll mark that off.
I'm also using my augmented ability control
Okay.
and applicable focus.
Wow,
Oh!
that is a lot of successes.
Wha-
That is
That is a
7
very good roll.
successes. Yeah. So you get 3 momentum with that, and yeah. So we sort of we see the I-13 sort of soar past the camera a little bit, and then emitting from the rear torpedo launcher, a photon torpedo, a ball of orange light, flies out and impacts the cloud of ionized plasma and detonates it almost immediately. So Saval, what is the torpedo damage on the I-13? I believe it's what, a 5, a 6?
I think it is a 5. Let me just double check that quickly. That is a 5, yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is that the ionized plasma will add 3 to that. So you're going to roll 8 challenge die. And because it is ionized plasma, I will confer the Vicious 1 effect as well as spread. So
Okay.
basically you want to see effects here. Very nice.
How much momentum did we earn there?
3.
I'm okay with you burning it if it helps us take out one of these targets quickly.
Well, let's see what we got here. So that's 9 damage before any re-rolling, which means with 1 effect, that is 10 total damage. They are a scale 3 ship like you, so that becomes 7 damage. That is enough for a breach. And then with spread, that is enough to remove their shields, which is another breach. So if you do 1 more effect, you will essentially 1-hit KO this attack ship.
It's probably worth spending the momentum to roll those 2 zeros you had.
If I spent 1 momentum to buy piercing 2, would that also
Oh,
destroy?
hey. There
Yeah,
you go.
that would do it as well.
Then that is what I will do.
All right. So the torpedo soars into the ionized plasma, detonating, and it's like a shockwave emanates out from the center of the explosion. And the shockwave impacts the Jem'Hadar attack ship and causes its shields to buckle. And as the flames of the plasma wash over the attack ship, it's like shooting some inanimate object or some living thing with the disruptor set on kill. The ship literally ionizes and vaporizes as it is enveloped by this detonating plasma. So the attack ship is gone. That cloud is gone. However, this does mean that the other attack ship is finally able to see you on the other side of the cloud. So they are going to attempt to shoot at you. So let's go ahead and roll for them. And they have succeeded. So that's going to be a grand total of, let's see, 6 damage that ignores all of your resistance. So that is a breach. And the breach is going to be, of course, to structure. Why would it not be to structure? Okay, so the good news is no one got hit. So Jem'Hadar fires out a phased polaron beam, so a purple lance of light, and it impacts somewhere along the secondary hull of the I-13, and we see sort of holes and bulkheads begin to open up and tear open as the polaron beam pierces through the ablative armor that the I-13 has. Casualty reports begin coming in. Luckily, no one was killed in the attack, but you are seeing a number of injured that are coming into sickbay.
Captain, we're receiving casualty reports from across the ship, and our ablative armor is beginning to buckle.
Doctor, would you like to head to the med bay?
Very much so.
Commit First Officer Holton, take the doctor's position at Science Station.
Roger that, sir. And it's at this point that I can introduce Holden. Holton is a human female. She is somewhere between 5'10" and 6'2". It seems to vary on the day, really. And she is a little bit grizzled, like she has sort of a scar across her left eye, and is otherwise a pure professional. But as the doctor slips out and she slips in, I would say that GM Josh, you can run her if you would like, as the doctor runs down to sickbay.
Sure,
But
sounds good.
it is at this point that we are actually going to enter into turn order. So it is your guys' turn first. So what would you guys like to do?
I think getting on the other side of that ionized gas would, or do we just fire? Does anyone have an idea?
I think if we tried to navigate or like go an evasive maneuver so that we're harder to hit, that's probably good, because that one shot, like we're pretty brittle, like a scale 3 vessel, only a couple breaches and we're in a lot of trouble.
Okay. So let's have Helm do the what's it called? Is it evasive action?
It is evasive action, yep.
I'll order Helm to do. Well, I won't order because of the way combat works. We'll just have Helm do that.
All right, so someone wants to roll for our lovely Helm officer. This is going to be a daring and con, assisted by the ship's structure and con. And the difficulty here is a 1.
I can take the ship.
I'll take the helm officer, if that's all right.
Alrighty.
Daring and con. Do you want me to buy another d20 with a momentum?
I think. Yes. Let's do it.
And applicable focus.
Oh,
Wow, you are on a roll tonight. So that is 4 total successes, so you get 3 momentum, which I believe puts you at 4 overall. And yeah, your Helm Officer, Tari, is able to get the I-13 dancing nimbly through the Badlands, and you effectively are 1 difficulty harder to hit, and it is also 1 difficulty harder for you to shoot something. But that becomes immediately, well, I say immediately beneficial. Let's actually see what the Jem'Hadar roll first. So the Jem'Hadar are just going to open fire on you, and they miss completely. So another blue or purple lance fires through and completely misses the I-13, which means it is now your guys' turn again.
well, I think it's time we return fire, right? Or is there something else we should do?
I think returning fire is a great idea.
If
Because
I
we'll
may,
get a chance before they fire again, probably. To. It's been a little while since I've played Star Trek.
It's all right, man.
So I'm forgetting a little bit of the best way to do this. But I if you guys agree, let's just fire.
for phasers, that would be a difficulty 4 because of our evasive maneuvers, or
Difficulty 3, because phasers are a base of 2.
okay. All right. Should I target a system?
While targeting a specific system would be an increased difficulty.
I would add the piercing 1 effect, though,
This is true.
and I would get to reroll a die.
Well, you
I
do
think
have
no.
4 momentum.
Let's save it
Okay.
because we're likely going to get to fire again, right? I have the ability to direct you to do something, right?
Correct.
So I think maybe if we just fire with the hope to knock down their shields, and then next time we get to go, I'll direct you to do this again, and then we go all out.
Okay.
Tell me if I'm wrong, because again, it's been a little while since I've played Star Trek.
No, you're doing fine. That is more or less correct.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
But feel
So,
free to use the momentum to get an extra dice here.
okay. So 3d6 and applicable focus.
And if I could get a weapons security from the ship, we already have 4 successes on the board.
I'll roll the ship. Weapons.
So, Val, can you roll all my dice for me in the future, please?
You should have seen me my first night on Fenrir.
All right. So let's see. That is a total of 5 successes. So that gets you 2 more momentum. So you're at 5 momentum overall. And yeah, if you want to go ahead and roll me the phaser damage of the ship.
Okay, that is 5.
All right. So you've got 3 right now.
I will spend 1 momentum to re-roll those 2 zeros.
Okay.
We've got versatile 2, which we could probably just go through all their resistance with that.
So with the versatile and maybe 1 of our momentum, we'll drop the resistance by 4.
Well, you have 2 versatile points, so you could spend both on the piercing effect. But you would be able to spend 1 momentum to bring your total damage to a 5, which would be a breach.
How much momentum does that leave us with?
4.
We would have.
I think that's a smart move then,
Yeah.
All right.
especially if we get lucky and it's a weapons breach or an engines breach.
All right. So yeah, so Vol, since you're the one rolling, there should be a macro called System Hit. Just go ahead and roll that macro, and we'll see what gets hit.
Okay, so
And you hit structure. So the I-13, coasting along, fires out an orange lance as a phaser from the rear arrays fires out and impacts the Jem'Hadar attack ship. And much like the Jem'Hadar attack ship had inflicted on the I-13, you dish back just as much. You pierce through the left wing of the attack ship and cause a number of hull breaches to appear across the wing. And effectively, what that means is they have lost one of their turns for this round, which means it becomes your turn once again.
I think I'm going to take this turn as the captain to direct I moved my paper with everyone's names. Yeah, direct Soval to fire again.
Okay, so let's break down the difficulty here. This is going to be a difficulty of... So it starts at 2. He's already acted this turn, so that's going to be a difficulty of 3. I think we decided out of game that there is no increase in difficulty if you are tactical officer using the tactical station. So I believe the overall difficulty here is going to be a 3.
because of our evasive actions, doesn't that get 4?
You're right. It is a difficulty 4. I knew I was forgetting something.
Okay.
And then because I'm directing him to do this, I get to assist.
With presence command, correct.
And then because I'm assisting, that means Soval gets to reroll one of the d20s.
Correct.
Okay. So control security, I will buy an extra die, so 3d20,
Okay.
using 1 momentum and an applicable focus.
All right, so that's 3 successes already.
And I can re-roll that 0, right?
You can indeed.
I'm
And
gonna
then the
drop his
ship
2
gets
power
to
for
roll,
the.
right?
What was that?
Hey, look at that. There is your 2 successes that you need. Very nice. So yeah, go ahead and
And
roll
then,
me some damage.
what about the ship? Weapon security?
Oh yeah, that's right. The ship rolls. I forgot. Weapon security from the ship.
I got it.
All right. Well, you get that momentum right back
Oh,
then. Very nice. All right. And what I would say is if you spend all of your versatile on piercing, you may decide how this Jem'Hadar attack ship blows up.
take it
Okay.
away. I think that's smart. Let's get him off the field.
Yes, indeed. So the I-13 swings around, and I deliberately target the damaged section of the Jem'Hadar attack craft, levying a volley of phaser fire at that area. And you see the wing begin to crack and split apart, the metal melting and shearing at the same time. And the attack craft goes spiraling off into the haze of ionized plasma ahead of it, and is sort of denaturated as it spirals through that cluster.
Very nice. I like it. And yeah, with all of the things on the field dead, we now cut to the finally the interior of the bridge. Now, the bridge itself on the I-13 is a little bit different than a normal Nova class in that it is designed very compact. Like, even on the refit of the Nova, the bridge is actually rather extensive. But this is very much akin to, say, a battle bridge on a Galaxy class, meaning that it has only the 2 stations at the front and then one long one behind where the captain sits, and then a total of 3 stations behind that. So it's a very, very compact little bridge that we have going on. And then the Doctor, you are not currently there. So let me get you out of there. But the rest of you are there. And I'll let you guys take it away as I fix the momentum deck.
So I think Oshrev, he's been standing for most of this. And the moment we see that the Jem'Hadar attack ship start to break apart, he just slumps into the chair and he kind of gives himself a moment of reflection, because this is the first time he's actually been in actual combat since he lost his ship almost 10 years ago. And he takes a moment and then he says, Holton, how bad were we hit?
Captain, we've got some casualties. It's like a few injuries, no fatalities reporting. Shields took some damage. We're at 40%.
Well, seems that the I-13 has survived first contact with the enemy. Commander Tolek, oversee repairs to any damaged systems. Ensign Tori, let's get out of the Badlands.
And very good, sir. And what they do is they plot a course and you begin leaving the Badlands behind. And momentum
then,
should be fixed now.
Oh, I see him. And then the captain turns to First Officer Holton and says, the bridge is yours, Commander, and walks off to his ready room.
All right. So we actually cut to the ready room. And again, unlike a normal variant of the Nova class, the ready room is a very small little affair here. By that I mean you have basically a curved desk, a panel behind you with a bunch of readouts. You've got a couch off to the right of the desk, and you have maybe like a curved chair that sits on the opposite side of the desk against one of the walls. But other than that, you are fairly compact in here. you don't really have a whole lot of room.
And I think on the desk is a small model of a Miranda-class vessel. And the captain doesn't actually go behind the desk. He goes to the couch and just sits and breathes. And he's just... It's been a long time since he's been in the command chair. And he's just remembering now that it's not just... His first few moments, it was all about exploration and science, and it was fun getting back into the swing of things, and now he's remembering that there's also a cost. And he's just taking a moment to reflect.
Gotcha. And as you are reflecting, you, from probably a pad on the table that sits in front of the couch, one of the pads begins to light up that says you're getting an incoming transmission from Starfleet Command.
Oshrav stands up, kind of does the quick Picard maneuver with his jacket. All right, back to it, and goes to the desk to answer the communication.
All right. So you head back to the desk, and when you open up communications, appearing on the other side is a Cation. And the Cation introduces herself. She says, Captain Shran, my name is Admiral Haru. I understand that you are in the Badlands currently, correct?
That's correct, Admiral. We just had a interesting encounter with 2 Jemadar attack ships, but we've dealt with them. They've both been destroyed.
Very good. Any casualties I should be aware of?
None at the moment. The doctor's doing his work. I'll have an update for you as soon as I have one.
Very good. The reason I have made this call is because we believe that there is a courier vessel carrying a very important Vorta that is going to be passing through the Badlands within the next day. As you are the only ship in the area at the current moment, this is going to be your task to either detain or destroy this courier vessel.
And it's just a single vessel?
That is correct. Our intelligence suggests that the Dominion prefer to keep transports like this on the sort of secret nature, and that they do not prefer to send them in heavily armed vessels. I believe the expression is security through obscurity.
Well, the I-13 is here to serve. We'll get it done.
Very good. And Captain, good hunting.
You too, Admiral. You too. Stay safe.
And the screen winks out, and you see the Starfleet Command logo just sort of displayed on the screen.
The captain gets up, having his moment of reflection interrupted, and returns to the bridge.
All right. So before we go back to the bridge, we are going to go very briefly to sickbay, where, Doctor, you have just walked in, and you are performing triage on the 5 officers that have come into your sickbay. Now, the good news is that from an initial sort of look at what's going on, you don't have to worry about hemorrhaging or blood loss, but you are seeing a variety of broken bones, severe burning, things of that nature. So how would you like to proceed from here?
Do I have an assistant of any kind, or is it just me?
It is just you. The EMH has automatically activated as there was no one in sickbay. So we see Robert Picardo going through and scanning each of the patients. And as you walk in, he says, you're finally here. Good. We expected you earlier.
Yes, thanks. EMH, can you tell me anything? Who's most critical?
That would be Ensign Mayweather over here, sir.
All right, continue to triage the rest of the patients. Let me know if anyone's status changes. Let's go check on the ensign. Well, I say that to myself.
Okay. So you go over to Ensign Mayweather, and he is a African-American gentleman. He is probably maybe about 5'8", so he's probably on the shorter side. But what really matters is he has along his left side of his face and really the left side of his body, he is covered in severe plasma burns. He is conscious. His teeth are gritted in pain, and he says, Doc, you got something for the pain?
And as I'm performing an initial diagnostic, I'll just start making small talk to him. So, Ensign, what did you get into here?
Well, I was on deck 5 when that beam hit us, sir.
Oh, you don't say. Well, where are you from?
I'm from Earth.
Oh, wouldn't you know? Me too. What part of Earth?
You wouldn't believe it, but I'm actually from Chicago.
I've never been.
Yeah, you ain't missing much.
And while he's saying this, I would probably give him an injection. Well, I'd probably do the test first to see how he is. I imagine have medical records that would be to pull up to let me know what he's able to take and not. But I imagine if all that clears out, I would probably give him a pain injection right away.
Yeah, why don't you roll me a control in medicine here?
Focus in emergency medicine, surgery, or biology?
I'll give it to you, yeah.
You said control medicine?
You got it. Wow, there you go. 4 successes. Oh, I didn't tell you the difficulty. Difficulty was only a 1, so I believe you are currently capped on momentum. So,
Nice.
Sure enough, you're able to confirm with his history, his medical history, that you can give him an injection of anaprovaline. And sure enough, as you go with your hypo spray, a wave of relief sort of washes over Ensign Mayweather. He says, thanks, Doc. How bad is it? Am I going to live, or am I going to have some sweet scars?
Of course you're going to live. And the scars are up to you, of course. We can get rid of those. So is this your first posting?
Yes, sir. This is my first posting out of Starfleet Academy.
Please, don't call me sir. When you say sir, I look around for my father.
Sure, Doc. What do I call you then?
Doctor's fine. Aaron's okay. But sure, doctor's fine if you want to be formal, but please, no sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, Doctor.
So I imagine I probably would have done a diagnostic at this point, maybe, and had seen his condition, what I can do to help him out.
Yeah, at this point, really, all you really need to do is run a dermal regenerator over him. It'll take a little bit of time because it covers most of his body. But, you know, it's a fairly standard procedure in this day and age.
I'd probably give that task to the EMH and then move on to the next person.
Okay. So, you go down the line, and since Mayweather was the most severe, you are seeing decreasing amounts of injuries as you go down the line. And by the time you finish with the very last patient, Ensign Mayweather's procedure is finished, and he sort of looks between you and the EMH, not really sure who to ask. And he just sort of says aloud, am I free to go, docs?
Ensign, I'd prefer you take it easy. Let's do light duty. Why don't you take the rest of the day off and resume your posting tomorrow, and let me know if you experience any kind of skin irritation or, you know, any pain. Of course, let me know.
I'm not one to argue, sir, but there's only 40 of us on the vessel. If I take a day off, that's a lot of work that goes to someone else.
Well, I'd rather you recover and be able to be completely productive than have a complication and end up back here.
As you wish, sir. As long as you tell the captain and not me.
I can handle the captain. Don't worry.
And Mayweather gives you a smile and steps out of sickbay. And with that, we cut back to the bridge. So, Shran, you walk back out onto the bridge.
Well, everyone, first I'd like to say you performed admirably. Couldn't be more proud, and we get no rest on this one. We got to go back out. Admiral Haru has just informed me that a Vorta is being transported in a single ship And we're in position to intercept, so we're going to do that.
Does Starfleet want us to capture this asset for interrogation or to eliminate him?
ELH, did the ambassador give me specific orders on that? I can't remember.
Emerald Haru said that you were to either capture or destroy.
Good news, Saval. It's dealer's choice. Oh,
I'm not familiar with that expression, Captain,
no,
I'm afraid.
we'll do our best to capture him, or her, or it, them. I've never met a Vorta. I don't. We'll do our best to capture the subject, but if we have to, we'll don't hesitate to destroy the target.
Do we know how soon the ship will be arriving?
The Admiral gave me information. Ensign Tori, you should have that on your screen any moment now.
Yeah, and Tori looks at the screen and says, well, sir, this could be any time between now and about a day from now.
Well, once we're out of the Badlands, set course to intercept. Maximum warp.
Sir,
Commander
these coordinates are within the Badlands itself.
Oh. Interesting. Oh, well, maximum impulse, or at least what you consider to be safe. You're the one that has to dodge the storms, after all. Commander Tolek, do you think the ship will be in fighting shape by the time we intercept these Dominion forces?
We already have people working on it.
Excellent. I trust the job will be done.
Question for you, GM.
Yes.
Do we have actual information about the ship itself? Is it a freighter or a Jem'Hadar attack ship?
It is actually a ship that is very similar to a Jem'Hadar attack ship. And it is, I would say, if you were to look at the standard sort of beetle-like design of an attack ship, what you would notice is that the excess energy storage and generation that would normally be reserved for the weapons of the attack ship, those would be replaced with additional engines and sort of warp nacelles that would permit it to travel at higher speeds for longer. So you're more or less looking for a souped-up attack ship right now.
Okay. Captain, judging from the schematics of the ship that Starfleet has been able to provide us, I suspect that it will be able to outrun us if it escapes the Badlands. It's imperative that we attempt to trap it here.
All right, Commander. I'll leave it to you and Ensign Tori to track this ship, and I'm going to go down to sickbay and see. I want to make sure no one was. I want to see what's going on down there. Commander Holton, you have the bridge.
All right. So, as the captain steps out and heads down to sickbay, Talek, let me ask you this. Are you going to stay on the bridge, or are you going to head down to engineering or the affected section to do repair work?
I'm going to head down and help with the repair work.
Okay. So, I would like you to roll me a control or a daring plus engineering, please. The difficulty on this is only going to be a 1.
Would this count as emergency repairs?
I would count this as emergency repairs, yep. All right, you get 2 successes, which means you have a floating momentum. And yeah, coordinating your repair teams along with you actually putting in a little elbow grease yourself, you are able to shore up the bulkheads and areas around where the beam pierced through your hull. Good news is that you really shouldn't have to worry about the breach for a while, but the bad news is that you still have the breach. Though I would say if you spent 2 momentum to create the advantage that you did repair the breach, you obviously would no longer have said breach.
Do it.
I think we
Absolutely.
can afford that.
All right.
Let's go for it.
So yeah, you do a little bit of extra work, as it were, and you are no longer suffering from, mechanically, you are no longer suffering from a structure breach. The outside of your hull doesn't look pretty anymore, at least along the secondary hull where it was hit. But, you're making do. You are...
Functional's better than pretty.
And I tell you what, let's cut now back to sick bay, where Idru, you are just finishing up when the captain walks in.
And Idru probably has his uniform sleeves rolled up, very much out of normal Starfleet uniform decorum, perhaps. Like his pips are gone; they were lost somewhere.
The captain comes in and surveys the scene and says, "Doc, how we doing?" Kind of apprehensively.
Well, no fatalities, fortunately. But I got to say, Captain, this whole situation it's just a damn waste.
Which situation? Us being in the Badlands or the whole stinking war?
We'll take your pick. We just killed that bloodthirsty Vulcan on the bridge, killed 2 Jem'Hadar vessels, which I realize we're at war. We didn't even try to talk to him. If that's the stance we're going to take, you have to excuse me, but I prefer to value all life, even life I don't understand.
I used to think that way too, Doc. I used to think that way too. I think that for us to save lives, the easiest way is to see that this war ends quickly. I don't take any pleasure from seeing those 2 ships explode out there. I don't take pleasure out of ordering people to die, but if we can end this war tomorrow, if you gave me the option of us sacrificing this entire ship to end the war, I would take it in a heartbeat. And then we can get back to what we're supposed to be doing, which is exploring the galaxy, saving lives.
So what's next for us, Captain?
Well, the Admiralty has told us that there is a Vorta being transported on a single ship within the Badlands, within range for us to intercept, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, that's good news. That's someone we could try to talk to.
You know, I hope you're right. I've never met a
Yes,
Vorta
Captain.
before, I guess.
If we go around just trying to, well, as the commander said, kill everyone in the Alpha Quadrant, at what point are we any better or worse than the Dominion?
Or the Cardassians. No,
Well,
we're Starfleet. We're not going to resort to those tactics. You're right. And if I ever seem like I'm a little too bloodthirsty for you, Doc, just give me a kick in the shins.
well, don't worry, Captain. You'll certainly hear from me.
All right, I have to tell Starfleet that we escaped unscathed in that last battle. Thanks to your work.
Well, I hope you don't mind. I gave Ensign Mayweather the rest of the day off.
His first time in space, isn't it?
Yeah, this is his first assignment, and while his injuries I wasn't really worried about them. They were extensive, and it's just a big risk to push someone so young, so early. Let's let him heal up, and then, well, I don't want him back here with any complications.
Now let's ease him in. Doc, I trust you. I trust your judgment. You don't have to worry about me. If you have to send someone to the room, You got to remove someone from duty because they're overworking themselves. I trust you. That goes for me too. If you see me pushing myself to the limit, make sure I take some time to, well, you know.
Well, on the other side, of the coin, Captain, if you ever need to talk, I understand this is a war that we're going through, but we still have to keep who we are.
Agreed. And on that, the captain turns and leaves.
All right. So we are going to do a major scene change, so go down one momentum as we cut to the briefing room of the I-13. And if you haven't picked up on the theme yet, the briefing room is, again, rather compact. It is quite literally just a circular room with a table in the middle, with 7 chairs surrounding the table. There is, of course, the obligatory ships of the line that are on one of the walls. There's a big briefing screen on the opposite wall. And then there's a potted plant in the corner, but, it's a potted plant. What are you going to do? But this is approximately about an hour later, after everyone has had time to review the orders from Starfleet Command, get a hold of what you're looking for, and things of that nature. And what I would say as sort of a seed here is that your current trajectory in the Badlands should put you somewhere along the projected path of the Dominion craft. Other than that, I'm going to let you guys run your own meeting.
Before the meeting starts, ELH,
Mm-hmm.
you specifically pointed out the potted plant.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a changeling?
I mean, you could shoot it with a phaser and find out.
I think we have to do full sweeps of the whole entire ship now. The mission's off. This is the most important part. Find the changeling.
Oh, I love it. I love it. If you really want to shoot it, we can make it a roll.
No.
Let's leave the plant for now.
Yeah. I think this is probably the first real briefing that the ship has had. The rush nature of getting into space and getting into duty. So the captain takes the lead here, and well, everyone, appears we're on course to our objective. Commander Saval, what do you expect the tactical abilities of that ship are?
Well, Captain, given that it is a modified Jem'Hadar fighter, we can expect it to have a phased photon-based weapon. However, it seems devoted to speed rather than offensive capabilities. It should be no more difficult to overcome than a standard Jem'Hadar attack craft. However, I've found in my experience that Starfleet intelligence reports cannot always be relied upon. We should expect other vessels to be in its vicinity to be prepared to come to its aid.
Commander, didn't you come from Starfleet intelligence?
That's precisely why I don't trust many of their reports, Captain.
Well, that makes 2 of us. Commander Telek, I think the sooner we can intercept this enemy vessel, the better. We need to keep them in the Badlands. Once they get out, there's no way we can continue to track them. Is there any way you can get anything else out of the impulse engines?
We're straining it as it is, but I will try my best to get more out, and hopefully we can intercept them as soon as we see them.
Excellent, excellent. Dr. Idru, if we were to capture this Vorta, do you think we can get any information out of them? I've never met a Vorta, but I hear that they're very difficult to communicate with. They speak
Well, I've never met a
riddles.
Vorta either, Captain. I'd like to think there's at least something that we can learn from them. There's even the humane interrogation techniques, like a memory scanner, that we can employ.
Okay.
To put it this way, we'll learn a lot more from them alive than we will dead. Alive, we have so many options. Dead, we have no options.
Eminently logical, Doctor.
Commander Saval, I would like you to roll me a insight and a security, please. Difficulty of 1.
All right. Insight.
And you will have a focus for this one.
Okay. 2d20 and applicable focus.
2 successes, which means you get a momentum. Something you would know from either your stay at Starfleet Intelligence or the fact that you are an intelligence officer. What you know is that Vorta typically don't like being captured, meaning that when they are captured, they usually self-terminate.
Captain, if I may, Starfleet Intelligence has attempted to capture Vorta in the past, but I believe that most of them, if not all of them, are equipped with self-termination implants. It would be necessary to render this Vorta unconscious and extract the implant if we have any hope of actually interrogating him.
Doc, do you think this is something you could take care of?
I'm certain I could handle it.
All right. Let's make this clear. We're going to attempt to capture this Vorta. We need all the intelligence we can get going into the next battle. And whatever makes the end of this war closer, that's what I'm going to fight for. Is that clear, Commander Saval?
Perfectly, Captain. And I believe that
Excellent.
I speak for everyone at this table when I say we all agree that ending this war as efficiently as possible is the only logical course of action.
Okay.
You
Well,
seem
does
distressed.
anyone have any further... No, Commander. Sometimes the use of pure logic when applied to warfare leads to some pretty terrible decisions.
I have never found that logic leads us astray, Captain. I would respectfully be forced to disagree with you.
All right. Anyone have any further suggestions or ideas for how we can capture this Vorta?
Captain, do we have any evidence that there would be more Vorta on this ship, or could we conclude that this will be the only one?
I believe from my intelligence briefings, most ships only have one, but there could be a second commanding the ship.
Well, I certainly leave this to Mr. Tolek to give me more suggestions on this, but we could always use the transporter. One Vorta life sign should be fairly easy to detect amongst the other Jem'Hadar. It should stand out quite heavily. Transporter would also minimize the risk of an away team. And we could also keep the Vorta in the pattern buffer until we're prepared to surgically remove whatever sort of suicide implant they have.
The transporters, I think, would be the ideal way.
We might even be able to deactivate the suicide implant using the anti-weapon systems installed in the transporters.
Now that's an intriguing idea.
It is at this point that Commander Holton speaks up and says, Captain, while I like the idea of transporting, we would have to get awfully close to the vessel to do so. That's going to involve quite a bit of piloting and engine work, not to mention one hell of a transporter chief. And she looks specifically at Tolek for this.
If you can get us over there, then I'm confident that I'll be able to transport it over.
Commander, I believe we have all the faith in your abilities. I think the plan here is to render that Dominion ship so disabled that it is unable to put up any resistance, because I don't want them beaming Jemadar soldiers onto our ship, because those Jemadar soldiers are not fun to deal with, according to Starfleet intelligence reports.
From personal experience, Captain, I can confirm that.
All right, does anyone have anything else to say? I think the plan is pretty straightforward. We intercept, we disable, and if we have to, we destroy.
Question, GM. Do we think we might be able to make it to that area where the ship will be passing through prior to its arrival, or are we actually going to intercept it directly?
That's going to depend on the skills of your pilot.
Okay. Captain, if we manage to head off the Jemadar vessel, we might be able to lay down a series of gravitic mines to disable its shields, allowing us to transport the Vorta off. Granted, it would subject us to enemy fire, but it is logical to presume that if we disabled their vessel, the Vorta would terminate.
We could even go so far as to modify those mines to kill their main power. Even without main power, they'd have atmosphere for plenty of time for them to restore it, but then be without power long enough for us to take the Vorta.
Doctor, I would presume that once we retrieve the Vorta, we would destroy the ship.
If the ship is disabled, it has no tactical risk to the ship.
Doc.
Doctor, my apologies, Captain.
It's okay. If these intelligence reports are true, if we leave that disabled ship floating, it's a death sentence anyways for those Jemadar. Without the Vorta giving them the Ketracel White, I don't think they'd last long. It might be more of a mercy to destroy their ship.
Well, like I said before, Captain, alive we have so many more choices. Dead, we have none.
Well, you know what? On that part, we'll play it by ear. And you see his little antennas, Sean's little antennas twitch a little bit, because he doesn't want to make that decision now. Commander Tolek, Commander Saval, I'd like you to start work on those mines, in case we need them. And we will attempt to get in front of that enemy ship. I think that's a solid idea. Any questions? All right, dismissed.
All right. So we're going to go to Theater of the Mind here as we handle two very important things. The first is going to be your helm officer's role. In my haste to speed the seat along, I forgot to mention that Tari is a Aurelian. They are sort of the gold bird-like humanoid that is seen in the animated series. But for Tari, this is going to be a daring and a con, and they will be assisted by the ship's engines in con, and they will have a focus here. The difficulty on this will be a 4 after I spend some threat.
I think it's okay if we use a momentum here.
Mm-hmm.
If everyone else is okay.
I think that's a good plan.
Yep.
Can we have the first officer assist?
Yes, I would say that Holton can assist. We'll say that she is basically checking the numbers, calling out corrections, things of that nature. And she will be assisting with, let's say, a presence in con. And she will have a focus of leadership.
I'll roll for the first officer.
Okay.
I've done a lot of rolling tonight, so anyone else wants to take the ship and Tori, it's fine.
All right, so no help from
I'll-
Holden.
I'll take the ship. We were doing con engines.
Con engines. One from the ship. So we need to see 3 successes here from our Aurelian.
And you said, what did you say the attribute and discipline were?
Daring and a con.
Daring, con, 3d20 because of the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And does the focus helm operations apply?
Most definitely.
Oh,
Wow. Nice. So that is a grand total of 6 successes, which means you get 2 momentum. And what I'm going to say is that by the time the gravitic mines are ready, you are not only ahead of the projected path of the courier, but you get there with enough time that you could conceivably seed the area before they arrive. So, with that in mind, we're now going to go to Talek. And I'm still learning names, so excuse me. Soval, that's what it is. Soval and Talek. So both. Oh, go ahead.
Time to do surgery on a torpedo.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Soval and Talek, I'm going to let you decide amongst yourselves who's leading the charge here. But you are essentially, as Bradley has put it, doing surgery on a torpedo. You are adding a proximity detector or modifying the one that's already in there to act as a mine. It is a fairly straightforward task. However, it is time intensive. So what I would say is that we're not going to do a full extended task here, but what we will do is a limited amount of attempts. And for every attempt that you succeed at, you are able to create 1 such mine. Now, the role itself is going to be a daring and a security, or a daring and engineering, and you can assist each other on this. I'm going to spend some threat here to make the difficulty a 3.
I have a 14 total on that, so I don't know if Tolek is
15.
better. I will assist then.
Okay.
And I would say you get 3 attempts at this. All right, good start with Saval. So that is a total of 4 successes with Talek. So you get a momentum back, and you create 1 such gravitic mine. Now, what I would say is that you have 5 momentum at the moment. If you spend 2 of it to create an advantage, I'm going to have you spin what the advantage is. The difficulty will go down to a 2.
I think there's a really straightforward advantage here, and it's that you've successfully created 1. So now you know exactly what you're doing on the second one, and the third one, and the fourth one.
Yeah, I think once you make 1, it'll be easier to make more.
Fair.
So, I think that's reasonable.
Okay. So yeah, difficulty now is only going to be a 2. And as you're rolling, I'll sort of narrate. So, as I said, you are literally adding or enhancing the proximity detonator. Oh dear, we have a complication on the field. So you do succeed. But what happens is on the second torpedo, as you are modifying the proximity detonator, you maybe bump something you weren't supposed to, Saval. And Saval, what you realize with horror is that the torpedo has activated. It's getting ready to detonate.
I will rip the comm badge off of Commander Tolek's chest, slap it onto the torpedo, and then hit my comm badge to the transporter room. Transporter room, lock onto Commander Tolek's signal and beam it 50 kilometers off the starboard bow.
Okay. I'll do a roll here behind the scenes because I don't think we have an actual transporter chief yet. So let's see what we get. Oh, I think you can see it on stream, but what you guys can't see on the player side of things is I have rolled a 20. So that's a problem. So here's what happens.
So new characters, new ship. That's what I'm hearing.
No, it's not that bad. But what happens is the torpedo does beam away. It does beam somewhere behind the ship. But with the complication, I am going to roll some damage here. So this is going to inflict 5 damage to you, but you guys have ablative armor, which means that your resistance is a 5, which means you don't take any damage, which altogether means that as the torpedo beams away and then detonates harmlessly out in space, the entire ship rocks a little bit, and the captain and other people might have words for that.
I must remember to express my compliments to the design team for this vessel. The ablative armor is remarkably effective.
I think the captain immediately gets on communications. Engineering, you just made me spill my Roctigino all over myself. What the hell was that?
Unfortunately, Commander Tolek is indisposed at the moment, Captain. There was a minor malfunction with one of the gravitic mines. The situation has been rectified.
No casualties?
None that are apparent, Captain. You would have to check with internal sensors to ascertain the status of the rest of the ship.
All right. Keep up the work.
Of course, Captain.
Is there a reason why you stole my communicator rather than just put yours on?
Because then I would not be able to contact the transporter room, Commander.
I could have contacted the transporter room.
You didn't seem prone to acting, and I, based on my experience, am quite quick to act.
Okay.
You might say that I'm quick to action.
I love the subtle shade.
I'm gonna go off and just search for another communicator.
Okay. It's very easy to find another one, no problem. But yeah.
You get a comm from sickbay 2. The doctor would be asking if everyone has their fingers and toes still.
Fortunately, yes.
All right. So, you have one more attempt to make another mine if you so wish, or we can simply skip ahead. It's just whatever you feel you're feeling lucky.
I'm tempted to just make it by myself this time.
That is, of course, your prerogative, although I believe that you would benefit from my tactical experience.
The last time it didn't go so well. I do not want to explode again. Even if it was just a false version of me exploding. And I didn't do it.
Yeah, so maybe you're just a little unnerved, or maybe you're just a little upset. The end result.
I think annoyed is correct.
Yeah. The end result, though, is that you're just not able to focus long enough to finish off the mine by the time you get in position. So I'm going to put us on this map here. Come on, Roll20. Switch scenes. There it goes. So, sort of like before, you have entered an area of the Badlands where there's pockets of ionized plasma, and the projected path of the courier sort of snakes in between these pockets. So you tell me where you want to put the one mine you made, and then tell me where you all want to sit. Also, your
I will.
shields and power are back to full.
I think I'll leave the placement of the mine and the ship to our tactical officer.
Okay. Then I would suggest we place it between the first two um, pockets of ionized plasma.
Okay.
So that would be, what, J10, I think?
J10, all right. Let me pick a color here that we can see. So something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm going to assume that they'd come through that area, keeping the most distance between those pockets of ionized plasma and themselves as possible. And then I'd recommend that we actually hide inside one of the far pockets of plasma, but that's just an idea.
Are we um are we expecting them to come from in front of us or behind us?
On the map, it's to the left. They're coming from the left and going to the right.
Okay, perfect. Commander, you suggest we go into the pocket of ionized gas, the plasma?
It might be possible to modulate our shields in order to survive inside that environment with minimal damage. It would also obscure us from their sensors. We could leave a probe outside the pocket of gas in order to relay sensor telemetry.
Well, I do love a good modulation of the shields. Make it so, Commander.
May
First
I ask,
Officer Holton, assist him. Help him out.
before we begin, Dr. Irdu, do you believe that's possible to enter the desk cloud without damaging the vessel?
I think it's possible. I think it's very risky.
Do you have an
Sure.
alternative suggestion?
Perhaps if we put the ship in a position so that the plasma cloud or plasma field is between us and them, that would certainly make their sensors less effective without making the ship or putting the ship in so much harm.
I defer to you, of
That's a
course,
great
Captain.
idea. That's a great idea, Doc, but I think I see where the commander's coming from. We need to be able to act as quickly as possible, and being actually in the cloud will let us come out and attack right away instead of having to maneuver around. We might only have seconds to take advantage of the enemy's shields being down. Plus, I don't think I've ever purposely flown a starship into a pocket of ionized gas before, so there's always that.
All right. So, if I understand the plan correctly, you are going to hide in here, in this pocket.
Yes, so I
I
guess
think
that could work.
if that makes sense, yeah.
Okay. So, this is going to require a simple roll here. Well, I say simple. This is going to be a modulating shields task, which is going to be a control and a security. And the ship will assist you with a structure engineering. And the difficulty here is a 2, and your power requirement is a 1.
Would anyone mind if I bought a die for that?
I'd say go
Oh,
ahead.
I think we need this to happen.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're toast otherwise.
Right, but what I would say is that this is a scene change, so you are down a momentum from the scene change.
Okay. Then instead I'll use my, what was it? Augmented ability control,
Okay.
and just deal with the 2d20 with the assist from the ship.
Alrighty.
I'll roll the ship.
I-13 assists you. Oh dear. So you have an option here. You can either give me 2 threat for that complication, or you can take the complication. Which would you prefer?
Well,
I
we
think
have
at
the
this
2
point,
momentum.
So 2 threat?
I think that's I think that's the move.
Okay. I will take the 2 threat. So yeah, with Saval modulating the shields, you slowly and carefully coast into the pocket of ionized gas, and you sit there and wait. And wait. And eventually, appearing on sensors is the hot rod of a Jem'Hadar courier passing through the area. And you sort of watch via your little probe that you sent out beforehand as the courier gets closer and closer to where you drop the mine. And then right at the last moment, just when you think it's going to pass by and nothing will impact, it passes where the mine is located. And since Saval did the roll, I would say either Saval or Nick, if you want to roll for Tolek. Whoever rolls this is going to be treated like a normal torpedo, so 5 challenge dice. But it is also going to have the dampening quality on it, so every effect will take off 1 power.
All right. Be my guest.
Sure thing.
Okay, so that is currently 2 power off and no damage to them because of their resistance. Would you like to re-roll those zeros, add piercing?
I would just like to say, because I used the augmented ability control, we do have, I think, 3 momentum, so you could spend that.
Ah, true.
I say
Yeah.
re-roll those zeros. That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, that is a lot of zeros.
So you get to
So-
re-roll 2?
As many as you want.
Oh, wow.
So let's re-roll 3 zeros.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Well,
so
we still got some more zeros.
Yep, so that would be 3 power off. Still no damage, unfortunately, unless you spend for piercing.
I
With
would say
piercing,
that-
all it's going to do is lower their shields a bit.
Mhm. But we can add momentum to drain more power, right?
Correct,
Isn't
yes.
like-
It is 1 point of momentum or 1 point of threat for 1 point of power. So it is possible to kill their power completely, but you're going to have to give me threat at least partially to do it.
Opinions? Or...
We could just go for broke and go like max threat spend to take this ship down. What could go wrong?
Then he's gonna break...
Battleship
I
shows
feel
up.
like that will go really wrong. I
Intelligence
don't
was
trust
wrong.
that.
There's a Borg cube, actually, with the Jem'Hadar courier. I don't know. I think maybe it's better if we save our momentum so we can actually get another shot off.
All
I think it's going to be too costly to make this like a knockout shot.
All right.
Well, I'm hearing 2 plans of actions. Which one do you want to go with?
We can probably drain the rest of their power or disable them with our next actual shot using the momentum more efficiently there. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, let's use the momentum later and focus on a good shot in after this.
Okay. All right, so as the torpedo, or the mine, as it were, washes over the Jem'Hadar courier shields, their shields hold, and immediately what they do is they were coasting along at maybe half impulse. They now go to full impulse. So on their turn, they're going to finish right about here on the map, which puts them at almost long range from you all. but they're just within medium range. However, what I would say is that if you fire phasers from within the ionized plasma, you will ignite the plasma and cause damage to yourselves in the process.
Oh, I think our first move definitely has to be getting out of this area.
And I do have quick to action, so we could move out of the plasma field and then fire.
That you could.
That's what I'd like to do. Let's get the helm officer to get us out of the plasma cloud and keep us within ideal range for our phasers.
Okay. So that's going to require from our Aurelian, that's going to be a control and a con. The ship will sit within engines con, and the difficulty on this is 0, so free momentum to be had.
I'll roll for the ship.
Okay. 2 successes from the ship.
Just need at least one from the helm. I can roll for. I can do it. It was control con.
Yep.
I assume does helm operations work for this as well?
Yeah, like most of the helm tasks are gonna tap helm operation. Wow, look at that. That's a total of 6 successes. So you are not only capped on momentum, you have 2 floating. And might I just add as a suggestion, you could create a free advantage here.
Maybe decrease
I would offer up maybe they don't see us.
Yes, that's a good. They're not aware of us. They're just aware of a mine hitting them.
Sure, with the momentum spent, the floating momentum spent. Yeah, when you leave the pocket of gas and fall in behind them, either because their sensors are not really attuned to look for you, or simply that your pilot and your engineer are just that damn good, they don't seem to have noticed you. Obviously, they're still trying to speed away best they can, but they're not giving any overt signs that they're trying to, say, avoid you or take evasive action. So that's your first turn, but you are quick to actioning, if I hear correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your second action?
I'd like to suggest that we target their weapon systems with the phasers, try to knock out their shields and disable their ability to fire back at us, or target their engines, slow them down.
I think as the captain, all I say is fire, and it's up to you to interpret that.
Okay. Then I will try to target their engines.
Okay.
With a phaser shot.
Okay, so then that's going to be a control security. The ship will assist with a weapons security. And the difficulty on this, because you are targeting a specific system, is a 3.
I'd like to use augmented ability control, and I'll buy an extra die using 1 momentum.
Okay.
I'll take the ship.
No help from the ship, unfortunately. And 3 successes from Saval. What is that? 0. 17. So you're good. And the ship rolled a 12. All right. So yeah, you are able to hit them with your phasers. Go ahead and roll me some damage.
And also, because of precise targeting, I get to re-roll that 0.
Ooh.
If I wanted to. But I'm not going to take the risk. So 5 challenge dice. And I have the piercing 1 effect because of precise targeting.
Okay. All right, so that is 4 damage. Unfortunately, you need effects for piercing to take effect. So would you like to spend momentum to re-roll those zeros?
Absolutely. So I'll use one of my free momentum for versatile to re-roll those 3 zeros.
Okay, so you're at 6 damage with still no piercing, unfortunately.
Could we use momentum to increase the damage?
You could use it to increase the damage or add a flat 2 piercing effect. Well, it's 2 piercing for every 1 momentum spent, is what I should say.
So
With
I'd say
2
we should
momentum,
take
we'll
out
get through
4.
all of their resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm good
I'll
with
leave it up to you. I'm still not. Some of this is confusing me a little bit.
There's I think I put it in there. Yeah, if you look under references, there should be a momentum reference. And we're looking at the penetration momentum spend.
Hmm.
I'm in favor of spending the momentum for that.
that. As
Could
am
we
I.
do both?
Yeah,
Because we have what, 5 momentum left?
yeah, you've got 5
Yeah.
momentum right now.
Why don't we spend 4 of it? 2 on getting rid of all the resistance and 2 to add more damage. Does that make sense at all?
I would say that you really only need to spend it on the piercing, so the 2 momentum for the piercing, and you would be okay.
All right.
All right, I think that's a smart idea.
I agree.
All right. So, what happens is you leave the ionized cloud, you fall in behind the courier, and like a shark swimming up to its meal, you sort of angle the ship just in the right way that as the phaser charges up along the arrays on the lateral sensor or the lateral saucer section, the orange lance shoots out and impacts the courier right in its engine block. And immediately the power across the entire courier ship flickers and dies for a moment as you inflict a breach. And mechanically, what that means is that they do not get a turn to act. So you essentially get to go once more.
Have their shields fallen?
Their shields have not fallen. Their shields are still up.
Damn.
But if looking at the power here, if you give me your 3 momentum, you will be able to disable all of their power, which would lower their shields.
It sounds like a fair trade to me.
I think we have to do that. It's the only chance we have of getting that Vorta off the
I
ship.
accidentally deleted us.
It's okay.
We're
I
just
can put
destroyed.
you back on there.
No, we have a cloaking device. That's what's
Oh,
experimental
okay.
about the ship. It's a phased cloak like the Pegasus.
There we go. All right, so as the engine is shot with your phaser, as I said, the power flickers across the entire courier ship, and it begins to drift lazily off to the side as it is currently unpowered. But this is your chance to effectively transport the Vorta away if you wanted to.
I think the Captain Tran turns to Tolek and says, "Chief, let's try."
Idru would like to assist if possible.
Sure, I would say that you're probably working the medical side of things, making sure that the device is either disabled or otherwise does not go off during transit.
Yeah, and helping to vault, or Tillich actually track down the Vorta out of all the Jem'Hadar too.
Okay. So let's break it down. This is going to be a control engineering. It starts at a difficulty of 2. The ship is going to assist with a sensors engineering. The target is not on a transporter pad, so it goes up to difficulty 3. I'm assuming you're beaming them to a transporter room, so that stays the same. The target... let me make sure I'm reading this right. I'm guessing Telek is doing this from the transporter room, so that goes down to difficulty of 2. You are not within close range of the ship, so that goes up to difficulty 3. So I think overall it is a difficulty 3 control engineering, assisted by the ship's sensors engineering. And then from our lovely doctor, let's get a reason and a medicine.
Focus and
Is this
sensor
considered
operations.
a sensor?
Yeah, I would say sensor operation focus applies. Oh, right, because you have advanced sensors, so it goes down to a difficulty of 2.
Did you say it was sensors engineering for the ship?
Yep.
I'll take care of the ship. This is pretty important. This might be a time to burn a determination if you have one that applies.
Well, we already have 3 successes on the board.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't turn to that.
All right, so with 4
I
successes,
don't get the sound.
yeah, with 4 successes, you are able to capture the Vorta away, and in the process, temporarily disable their implant. But I would say if you spend the 2 momentum you just got to completely disable the implant, we can run with that.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sounds worth it.
So there's the I-13 swoops over the currently disabled Jem'Hadar courier, and in the process, there's a shimmer in the transporter room as a Vorta appears on the pad, and I don't know. Do you tell the captain? Do you tell the bridge that you've got him, or?
Absolutely. As soon as he's on board, I message. What am I texting them? I call over to the bridge. We got him. He's here. Safe transport over.
Excellent work, everybody. Shields up. Let's get the hell out of here.
Alrighty. And sort of the last shot we see of today's session is the I-13's engines powering up to full, banking away from the courier drifting in space, and the I-13 sort of disappearing into the haze of the Badlands. And yeah, that's where we're going to end our first session. So, hopefully you guys had fun.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Lots
It was
of
a
fun.
lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, as you can tell, it's a little bit more combat focused than usual, but I think it's an interesting change. Next session, there's going to be sort of the same thing where there'll be a little bit of combat, but then I'll throw in like a science thing or a medical thing or, you know, something that you're not just always pew-pewing. But yeah, this is where I'm going to end the stream. Twitch, YouTube, etc. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully the whole webcam thing worked out. I did notice it was a little bit wonky at times, but, you know, growing pains. But again, this is where I'm going to end the stream. So see you later, stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.